Hello everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. Wave 3 News meteorologist Brian Good here. New version of how we're going to do this blog update. Similar look you'll see on other things as we head through time. But this way I get a chance to keep an eye on you guys the whole time that I'm lecturing about weather. Alright, so let's get right to it. First off on the stats, hey, we are even kill now when it comes to our snow stats for the season. We're completely balanced at 3.7. Tomorrow, if we don't get snow, measurable snow in the morning, and that's looking doubtful, then we will, for the first time this season, be below average in snowfall. Not by much, though. Last year, you see 6.1 still on the list. On the board, in the morning hours, a half a Twix bar. Very similar to what we just saw last Wednesday. Not much of a difference there. And then Sunday through Wednesday, I'm going to keep it at 1 Twix bar for right now until I get one more set of data for tomorrow. I want the short-range models to have one more grasp at this, and then I'll make a decision before we head into the weekend. And I'll show you why that setup is so complicated. And then right after that, half a Twix bar. That one, too, is highly dependent on the one before it, but that one I think I'm going to have to increase. All right, look at the temperatures. We've risen to 25, and we're going to approach the top of the hour before, as you see in the blog time, we'll hit 10 o'clock before this blog is done. But we could easily go 26, 27 tonight, as long as we keep that southwest wind. And it's breezy out there enough that it's creating a wind chill. It feels like 11 right now, and 12 at Fort Knox and 3 at Seymour. So yeah, it's a warm south wind, relatively speaking, but it is still creating a wind chill. It's still cold outside. But keep in mind, we are going to go the other way in time. Now, the radar is still showing snow showers. I have yet to have a single report of snow. If you're seeing anything, let me know. But so far, everything I'm looking at shows it's very dry, lower level layers of the atmosphere, and I don't see much happening yet. That will change later. There is the actual cold front itself. This has the best ability to squeeze out and lift the air enough to produce some snow showers. But that's not going to get here until, I'd say, 4 or 5 in the morning. Let me show you what it looks like on Futurecast. You can see how that band moves in. And even Futurecast is not very excited about it. I just saw the new high-res NAM model. It's showing it, but not as excited as it was last night. So there's a potential for a band of snow showers. And usually we see this a little more enhanced than what the models show. Same thing we saw Wednesday. So it wouldn't surprise me to see snow showers in the morning. So use some caution as these pass through. Visibility will be affected as the wind will be still gusty, but also watch out for slick spots that could develop. And then after that, we may see the clouds break up at times, but we're going the other way. This is an Arctic drop here as we get into the evening hours. Single digits for some teens in lower portions of our viewing area. So not as cold, not as brutal as the last Arctic outbreak, but still it's going to be a reset, pulling us backwards again just as we try to warm up. Now, as we look at the temperature profile here on the longer term, we've got the second cold wave. As I mentioned before, this is key on how things play out for Sunday into Tuesday. If this is the European, is still, or I'm sorry, the Canadian model is still gun-ho on the idea that we're going to go below zero Friday night. I don't see a lot of support for that right now. I think that the idea that the European model is only giving us like 11 for a low is saying something when you got 3 or 4 below on the Canadian. There's a huge difference between the two of them, and they usually agree pretty good. So I think it's we're splitting the difference and going upper single digits. But the core of this cold air, how quickly it settles in, how cold it gets, and then how quickly it moves out, all key questions that we have to have answered to figure out this scenario for early next week. Because you see the bubble of warmer air. Now, this is not a strong system that develops Sunday into Monday. This is not a massive low pressure. If it was, we would be betting on the idea of pure rain and even some thunder. But this is not strong enough, a weak enough system to give us just enough warm air to create a liquid situation, but also keeps the cold air at the lower levels enough to create an icing concern. So it's the perfect recipe for freezing rain and sleet, to be honest with you. Now, the question always is the warm air going to be enough to push enough of that cold air out to get it to just pure rain? All we need to do is get to 33, even in most cases, even 32 degrees. Most areas are fine. Just elevated objects begin to freeze over power lines, porches, and some trees will catch a glaze at 32. But usually you don't get into your really significant icing until you get to about 30, 29 and 30 degrees. That's when you really got to worry about some big-time icing problems. Once you get to 32, 33, it's really not that big a deal. And the way things are trending on the models, that is pretty much where we're going to be averaging out, if you take the models verbatim, that's where they're wanting to move us to, is 32, 33. But if they're wrong, and they are too warm, then that is our biggest concern. So that's what we're looking at on this warm bubble. And then we'll see the area of low pressure form behind it. I still think this is going to be a decent system here for the southeast coast. The question is go out to sea or go up the coast. The NAL is trending toward neutral, if not slightly negative. So I'm leaning more toward the idea of it going up the coast, which would mean a deeper low and colder weather for the end of that period. And then we'll try to moderate things slightly before we see another dip that comes our way. I will say the long-range Euro just came out all the way through February, and it came out with a warmer than normal profile for the eastern part of the country. I mean, you look at it, it almost says winter is over. But it also said we would have a lot of cold air in December, and we didn't really get it. So the European weeklies like that are not doing great lately, so I'm not putting a lot of faith in them, and that's why I'm not going to show them. All right, so let's talk about Sunday through Wednesday here. NOAA, the Climate Prediction Center, issued an outlook the other day. They always do this between the next 5 to 7 days, and even beyond, but in 5 to 7 days, they issue an idea of any major threats that could develop. And they had areas, southern Kentucky, right in through here, outlined for freezing rain / sleet. That was just 2 days ago. Here it is today, aiming for our viewing area for Sunday into Monday. Is that a trend? Is it going to keep going north? We don't know. I'll find out tomorrow. I don't put a lot of faith usually into these maps because they only really update them once a day. A lot happens in one day's time of model data. So that's why you see a significant jog. So I wouldn't get too worked up on this. But it did just update about 4 hours ago. So that is the most recent look. And just to give it an idea. Now, this may be hard to see now with the new look here, but it's the best way to display what I'm trying to explain. Up here at the top are the actual operational models. Here are the ensembles. The ensembles just have more data involved. And if you can't get a good picture of the operational models that a lot of meteorologists look at, then we go down to the bottom row to try to get some help. Basically, a better idea of guidance. And this is the GFS, here's the Euro, and here is the Canadian. Those are the three columns you're looking at. These are surface temperatures. Now, where you see the white line, the solid white line, that is the freezing line at the ground, 32 degrees. When you look at this, all right, you say GFS, it looks like the freezing line is right across southern areas of Indiana. When we look at the Euro, it came in with the freezing line. This is Monday morning, by the way. Freezing line right along northern Kentucky. And when you look at the Canadian model, freezing line right along, if not just south of I-64. You look at the ensembles. GFS, right over Louisville. Euro, right over Louisville. Canadian, barely south of Louisville. We're on the fence on almost every one of these models when it comes to, are we going to be at the freezing point on Monday morning? Now, they do warm us up to about 33, 34 in most cases by the time we get into the daylight hours Monday. So, but I'm more concerned about the morning commute for Monday. Now, here's the temperatures aloft. What we're looking at here is where you are on the edge, the light blue, where the light blue meets the dark green. That is your rain snow line. And when we look at that, the GFS has got us in the green, which would indicate a liquid scenario. The Canadian, or the European model, did trend colder today, but it still has us on the fence, more of the rain and then sleet and snow in Indiana. And the Canadian is a really tight gradient there, but it's right over us. When you look at the ensembles, just not a lot of help on this. I mean, this is a close deal. So what I'm going to do is show you now the Climate Prediction Center's maps, or actually the Weather Prediction Center, WPC. They actually create maps and put a likelihood of different precipitation scenarios. So what you're seeing here is done by humans. People will actually draw these based on the idea of models. And by showing this is going to be Sunday night. They're putting the freezing rain line right over Louisville. Shocker. And then as we get into Monday morning, it gets bright pink to indicate a high likelihood of freezing rain in that zone. And again, right over Louisville. I mean, when have we ever been on the fence of rain and freezing rain in Louisville? That never happens. And then as we head into the afternoon on Monday, warms us to mainly rain, sharp cutoff to heavy snow just north, and then goes back to freezing rain as it ends. This is a tough one, folks. I can only tell you either rain or freezing rain right now, and some sleet and snow further north, but that's the best I can do on this system. We need another day to really get a good handle on it because it's not in the United States Upper Data Network yet. Once it goes by, there is another wave that comes by. I still think this is going to be a deeper low that moves through. This is the European showing a batch of snow that comes through Thursday. GFS is like, what are you talking about? I don't see anything. So it moves it pretty much out to sea and doesn't even give us anything at all. Climate, or the WPC, they're going on the idea of a stronger low with a snow chance, and I do like the look that they have. So, there you have it. Confusing mess coming our way early next week. Stay tuned for more.